Fellas, today's video is an NBA trade machine, this time on Ben Simmons. I put out a tweet the other day looking for some trade suggestions from you guys, and I've got some very interesting ones to take a look at. If you have no idea what this is, if this is the first video you've ever seen from me, an NBA trade machine is basically when I asked for you guys to send me some trades about a player, and we just make up fake trades and we talk about them and we decide if it makes sense, if it doesn't. And in this one, we have a couple of really good Ben Simmons ones, because obviously things are a little bit weird in Philly right now after Simmons was basically told he was traded for Harden and then ended up coming back to the team, and it's just weird in Philly right now. So we're going to be talking about some Ben Simmons trade in today's video. But quickly, before we get started, if you're new here, what's up? My name is Tucker. If you enjoy basketball content, this is a great place to be. I upload NBA stuff twice a day, every day, so it's a great place for consistent NBA content. You can also leave a like rating on the video as well. Helps me out a ton, helps get the video out to more people on YouTube. And if you're interested in hanging out with me outside of these videos, there's a link tree in the description that has every single social media that I have in it. Also, quick plug, I'm probably live right now. If you guys want to come hang out with me and talk with me about basketball, talk with me about whatever, you can see it at the top of the screen there. That link is in the description. If you guys want to come hang out, it is pretty likely by the time you're watching it that I am live right now as you're watching this video. With those things said, let's go and get into the trade machine. So the first one is from Ace. And in this one, Philadelphia gets Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, Lauri Markkanen, and a top 5 protected 2024 first-round pick from Chicago. The Bulls are getting Ben Simmons, and the Pelicans are getting Mike Scott, Ryan Arcidiacono, Shake Milton, and a top 5 protected pick from Chicago in 2022. So here's my first thought, and I'm sure this is a lot of Bulls fans' first thought. It feels like a lot. Like, I don't think that Simmons for LaVine straight up is fair, right? Like, I do think that Ben Simmons is a better player, better all-around impact. Obviously, Zach LaVine is a really good scorer. But I don't know that the difference between the value of Ben Simmons and Zach LaVine is, LaVine plus Markkanen and 2, albeit top 5 future protected picks. I don't know that that's the case. And I know that, one pick is going to Philly and one pick is going to New Orleans, but I don't know if I love that level of compensation in exchange for Ben Simmons. But let's look at for each of the teams. So for Philly, they're getting LaVine, Ball, Markkanen, and a pick. That really helps them round out their rotation. LaVine can be a nice ball screen guy with Embiid. Ball can be out there and can defend and can shoot a little bit, can play make, and Markkanen can be out there and can shoot a little bit as well. And they're all, decently good young players, or decently young good players, excuse me. And the future pick for flexibility, which is really nice. Chicago upgrades their roster with Ben Simmons, adds a legitimate All-NBA guy to the roster, while giving up a significant amount of assets. And the Pelicans are just here to get this extra pick, to not have to pay Lonzo Ball on a new contract, and just kind of roll forward from there. So my biggest issues here, Ace, are the fact that it does feel like the Sixers are getting it doesn't necessarily feel like the Sixers are getting a lot. It just feels like the Bulls are giving up a lot to just get Simmons. I think maybe if you take one of these picks away, maybe Philly would be more inclined, but I'm just not, I don't know. It's all around a weird situation, because I do think this is too much for Chicago, but I think as a whole, the trade works. I'm just not convinced that Chicago wants to give up, 2 good young players and 2 picks for Ben Simmons, when I'm sure it raises their ceiling a little bit, but not in like a crazy significant way. But I do appreciate you sending it in, Ace. Next up now, we get to the craziest trade of the whole video. It's from Esquadro, and he says the Wizards end up with Trevor Ariza, Mike Scott, Darius Miller, Tyrese Maxey, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 picks. I don't know. I don't think any of these are swaps. I could be wrong, but there's 8 first-round picks here going to the Wizards. The Thunder are getting Ben Simmons, and the Sixers are getting George Hill and Bradley Beal. This is really interesting. So for Washington, it's a complete reset. You're getting Maxey, and he's the only player of note here that you're getting in return, but you're getting 1 million picks. For Oklahoma City, they're cashing in their picks in order to get Ben Simmons, who raises the ceiling of this group, should be a good long-term fit with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They get one more good young player, and they're good. They're chilling. They're rolling. And Philly gets Bradley Beal, who works a little bit better alongside Embiid. Really good perimeter scorer, and it's a similar function to the Harden trade for Philly here, right? And that Harden trade, the context of that is important here, because Philly didn't want to, or the trade broke down at a certain point in which they were being asked to give up Simmons, Maxey, and 3 firsts. So critically here, they're giving up Simmons, Maxey, and 1 first in exchange for Beal and then George Hill, who actually does help them a little bit. My issue here is I know that Oklahoma City is excited about getting, someone like Ben Simmons, young player, signed long-term in a contract, works well with Shai, but I don't know if they're, 7 first-round picks level of excited. I know that Washington needs to get a lot of value here, because we just saw the James Harden thing, right? And the Rockets getting the equivalent of, 4 picks and 4 pick swaps. But this feels like too many picks. And I don't know what the correct number would be to the point where Washington would still accept and then the Thunder feel a little bit more comfortable. But I'm just not convinced that the Thunder are giving up 7 for like basically their entire, treasure trove of assets to get Ben Simmons, because I think they would rather, I would guess they would rather have Beal in this scenario potentially for this haul. But at the end of the day, it still feels like too many picks. Now, it's a really, really interesting scenario because I love the idea of the Thunder getting Ben Simmons. I love the idea of the Sixers getting Bradley Beal, and I love the idea of the Wizards having all of these assets and Tyrese Maxey. So as a whole, I like it, and I don't want to spend 20 minutes talking about, it should be 6 picks instead of 8 or whatever the case may be. So that's my only criticism, is figuring out, a way for the Thunder to not give up as many picks. But overall, in terms of where everybody's going and what everybody's doing, I like the trade, and I thank you for sending it in. Next up now, Kai has sent us a trade, again involving the Bulls, but this time the Sixers get LaVine, Markkanen, a 2023 first, a top 5 protected 2021 first, and 2 pick swaps, and the Bulls get Ben Simmons. So again, similar to the first trade, but without, the extra team here. It's just about what the Bulls are willing to give up in a Simmons trade. I think Philly would look at the possibility of bringing in LaVine and Markkanen to kind of round out the roster and getting picks in exchange for Simmons. It's just about whether or not Chicago wants to give up a top 5 protected pick, a 2023 pick, and 2 pick swaps. I think maybe if you took the pick swaps off, maybe the Bulls would more consider it, but I can literally feel right now the Bulls fans in the comment section losing their mind because they're saying that LaVine is arguably a better player offensively right now than Simmons, and you're also having to give up Markkanen and the picks. Like, I can feel that right now, and I'm not saying that they're right, but I am saying that it's worth questioning, if it's worth giving up this much value for Ben Simmons when Chicago would be better afterwards, but not in a way that necessarily validates giving up this many picks of this many future assets. But I do appreciate you sending in the trade. Now, the last one, which is really, really interesting, a team I did not consider as a Ben Simmons team here, is the Miami Heat. So Philly would be getting Iguodala, Olynyk, Robinson, Nunn, and Precious in exchange for Ben Simmons. Now, for me, this is not even close to enough value that the Heat are giving up here. I understand what is trying to have happen here, where you don't want to give up Tyler Hero, and the Heat don't have a ton of future draft assets. They kind of have some outstanding draft picks that they owe to other teams. So the Heat are a little bit difficult to come up with a package, but here's what I would advocate for. I would say that Tyler Hero almost has to be in this deal, and there has to be some compensation here, because realistically, if this is just players, Duncan Robinson needs a new contract at the end of the year, so it's not like you're getting the value of him being on the $1.6 million contract moving forward. Nunn is fine, but he's nothing I'm super excited about. And then Precious is really, really good, but projects as like a really high-level energy, defensive big, rather than someone in Simmons that is an all-NBA caliber player at times. So that would be my issue, is I would need at least a minimum of Hero and some picks as well from Miami in order to make this deal happen if I'm Philly. Now, for Miami, if let's just say that's the case and you add Hero and some picks to this, I love this. I really, really do. And I know that people are going to call into question the floor spacing and things like that, because all their shooters are gone. Robinson and Hero is gone, and now you're working with Bam, Butler, and Simmons. But it's the Heat, and they're still going to have, cap space this offseason to be able to, do some things. Bring in some shooters. Maybe they go out and get someone like JJ Redick, trade deadline or in free agency. And as long as you put shooters around this group, like, they're going to be the best defensive team in the league. Butler, Simmons, and Adebayo is everything you would want out of a trio defensively. And obviously they're really good offensively as well. And the way the Heat play, as long as you add some shooters, like, they should be fine. Like, they're not a huge floor spacing team in terms of let's run 1,000 ball screens every game. Like, they actually run a good amount of other offensive actions that, yes, you need shooting for, of course, dribble handoffs, things like that. But it's not necessarily as tied to incredible spacing as some other teams around the league, to the point where I think they could potentially get away with having Simmons, Butler, and Adebayo all on the floor at the same time and being decent offensively and being fantastic defensively. And of course, it also allows the Heat to have an era beyond this Jimmy Butler thing where they've got Simmons and Adebayo signed long term, and it's the Heat, and they're going to be able to continue to roll into new at least halfway decent teams after making a move like this. So this one, albeit the trade itself is not great, the idea, the concept of Ben Simmons on the Miami Heat is super, super interesting, and I appreciate you sending it in. That is going to be the end, though, of the trades this week. I only picked 4 this week because I really wanted to focus specifically on some of these rather than bouncing around to a whole bunch of different ones. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We do this a lot, especially when there's a lot of trade rumors happening, which will happen as we get closer to the trade deadline in March, I believe. So there'll be more of these coming up if you guys did not make the video. You can leave trade stuff in the comments, in the Discord, or on Twitter, and I'll take a look at every single one of them. And again, I appreciate everybody that sent in a trade for this specific video. But that is going to be the end of today's video, and I thank you all very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did and you're looking for more NBA content from me, you can check out the boxes on screen, as well as just sub to the channel as a whole. Like I said, link tree in the description for all my socials. Like the video if you enjoyed it. And yeah, hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you all next time.